Greetings from the comfort of my dimly lit bedroom. I actually feel like this is a very appropriate setting aesthetically, considering the subject matter, which I'm about to discuss in this video. So, I want to preface this by saying I am not encouraging any destructive, antisocial, maladaptive behavior. I'm simply discussing the topic and how it relates to me. I don't encourage manipulation. I don't encourage lack of empathy for others. Um, I don't encourage anything negative. But I'm simply going to discuss this topic, how it relates to me and my experience in life. And that topic is a psychological trait, construct, concept that is called Machiavellianism. It might be hard to say. Machiavellianism. Now, Machiavellianism is named after a political philosopher. His name was Niccolo Machiavelli. You might have heard of his book called The Prince, and it's basically a book written as kind of like a philosophical insight into how someone would make an effective ruler. And that involves ruthlessness, pragmatism, and an end justifies the means mentality, essentially. Manipulation, maneuvering, cunning, that sort of thing. Now, I'm a complicated individual. I could safely say that. Am I a sociopath? No, I don't believe so. Um, I could at times have a very high level of empathy, not just for people close to me, but even a complete stranger at times. It depends. But consistently, there's a disconnect between me and others as far as empathy goes. And why is that? Well, not to make any excuses for myself or my behavior, just to provide context for how these things developed. I've undergone lots and lots of trauma, prolonged, repeated trauma. And I have a disorder that I developed called complex PTSD. Now, most of us know what PTSD is if we've familiarized ourselves with psychology, even on superficial levels. When you have a traumatic experience and it kind of just fucks up your whole nervous system, your startle response, you have flashbacks. Well, there's a version of that that's more complicated, hence the name complex PTSD. Repeated or prolonged trauma. So, whereas, here's an example, whereas a soldier who goes to war and sees something really bad might develop PTSD. Imagine a prisoner of war who was a prisoner of war for months, even years, and it kind of changes their whole perception of humanity in the world and their perception of their self and how they react to the world and interact with it. That's complex PTSD. Um, Someone who was sex trafficked, someone who was um, abused as a child or bullied for most of their school career, you could develop PTSD. And then there's a whole other thing about how being neurodivergent can, add to that, being on the autism spectrum, having ADHD, and, already having a brain that's wired differently in how you respond to trauma, but I digress. Through my repeated traumas, I learned to interact with the world and look at the world differently. And that's how we come into Machiavellianism now. What characterizes Machiavellianism? Like, as I said before, um, manipulation, manipulation in order to achieve objectives, cynicism, as I mentioned, also having a cynical view of the world around you, not seeing people as honest, not seeing people as trustworthy, um, thinking that people are going to hurt you. You know, that's how I see the world because I've been burned a lot. I've been abused by people that are supposed to take care of me, abused by people that are supposed to be my friends or allies. I inherently don't trust people. I have a wall up. I have a wall up between me and the average person. I could, there's this famous battle rapper. Well, not that famous, but he said that he had a bar. He said, I could trust the people. I could trust people. I could count the people I trust, excuse me, on Jason Pierre-Paul's hand. Now, Jason Pierre-Paul is a basketball player who doesn't even have 10 fingers. Um, but yeah, um, I might have 5 people in the world who I put complete faith in, and that might even be a stretch, saying complete faith. I don't trust anyone quite fully, except for a couple individuals. One of those being my mom. Um, Moving on, pragmatism. Um, so again, and justifies the means. I need to get to point C, so I do A and B to get to C. I need this person to do this thing for me, but I know if I tell them the real reason why I want them to do it, that they're less likely to do it. So I twist the truth or outright lie. Um, and yeah, I'm a very pragmatic individual in that sense. Like, um, I have a goal, I have a means on which to get there. That's the most logical route, and that's the route I follow. Now, this relates to me a little bit less, or significantly less. Focus on power. I'm not a power seeker at all. I actually, like, I don't. Power, and here's my ultimate ambition. My ultimate ambition is understanding, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. I'm a person who likes to gather information, better understand the world around me, increase my intelligence. Like, that's what I care about most in the world. That's what I want to attain. I like to get information. I like to be smarter and wiser, and because I grew up in a world that I didn't understand and still don't understand, don't think I will ever fully understand, but I want to understand it as much as possible. And that's what I believe is power, knowledge. I'm always reading, I'm always listening to people, I'm always observing people. I'll listen to anyone's opinion. Like, I know we're in a very toxic, is the best way I could put it, political landscape, and people don't really want to entertain other people's point of views. Shit, I'll listen to anyone's point of view if they um, have a calm, rational argument. Like, you might be a Trump supporter, I hate that motherfucker, but I want to hear your perspective because I want to add it to my overall understanding. I want to be able to see different perspectives. I feel like it adds to my overall skills as a human being if I'm able to take a bird's eye view of things and be objective a lot of the time. Strategic thinking. So, again, this kind of ties into pragmatism. Now, if you're a friend of mine, you need not worry. If I consider you to be near and dear to my heart, I'm not manipulating you. Don't worry about that. People outside my circle, listen, I'm not being an edgelord when I say this, because people have said this to me without me. I'm like a wolf. I have a pack, and all I care about is protecting my pack and surviving. That's it. People outside my pack, I'm sorry. I don't trust them. I don't have a connection with most people. It's very difficult for me. And I said this in a previous video. Upon reflection, I didn't like it. I didn't love any of my girlfriends. I was not. I loved them, but I was not in love with any of them. There's always, and they always were able to perceive it. They always felt like there was like a detachment, a coldness between us, which is ironic because I'm a very emotional person. But there's always a disconnect between me and others. Um, which also ties into another element of Machiavellianism. Again, as I reiterate, I have very emotional empathy for those close to me, near and dear to my heart, my loved ones, my dear friends. Other people, I don't connect to other people. I have a lack of empathy in that sense, and this is what you call selective empathy. I can choose who I empathize with at certain times. Um, and yeah, like I'm constantly like observing people, trying to see what makes them tick. Let me give you an anecdote, right? Now, there's a girl I worked with, and you know, I like to ask about people's backgrounds. Again, gather information. I say, "Hey, what's your ethnicity?" She tells me she's Turkish, right? So I go, all right, I'm gonna, and I always do this. I'll say, people who know me know they know I'm provocative, and I can be a troll because I just want to see people's reactions. So ask this girl, mind you, if you know anything about Armenians and Turks, there's a lot of historical induced tension between them due to the Armenian genocide perpetrated by the Turks, like to the point where a lot of Armenians won't even attend Turkish like establishments. Um, it's real. So this is a thing with a lot of there's a lot of like cultures that don't quite get along. So follow me now. Just when she told me she was Turkish, the gears started to turn. The wicked gears in my mind started to turn, and I'm like, hmm. So I just very bluntly, matter of factly asked. I was like, "You get along with Armenian people?" And it fucked her up. She kind of was like, right away, her reaction was, oh, she's like, "I know why you're asking that, but it's kind of it's random. I know why you're asking. It's very random that you asked that." And she kind of like stuttered and fumbled and fucked up and like kind of tried to gain her footing and say that, she didn't have a problem with Armenian people. But I already like got what I need. Like her reaction, it was not what I would get from a person that was not prejudiced. Understand? For here's my logic. So Jamaicans and Haitians. I love Haitian people. Like I just love Haitian people. I love their culture. I love their food. I love Haitian people. Some of my kindest people I've ever met in life have been Haitian. I'm Jamaican, and I'll admit, Jamaican people. And this is a little insider. They could be kind of mean when it comes to Haitian people, or I mean, not sugarcoated, prejudice. And there's some tension that you know not always heavy, but exists between Jamaicans and Haitians. So if you ask me, what do you think about Haitians? I'd be like, oh, I love them. I love their culture. I love their food. I love their language. I love it. The fact that she didn't say that when, or something along those lines, when I asked her, like, what do you think about Armenians? It gave me exactly what I needed to tell me about who she was. I was like, yeah, she's kind of shaky when it comes to certain things and I'm constantly testing people like that. I'm constantly saying things to get a reaction, see what kind of person they are. I'm listening intently, um thinking, will this person make a good ally? Is this someone I want around me, or someone who I want to talk to? Like, that's just how I approach interaction. And I could give a bunch of anecdotes like that, but I can't give you all this game for free, you feel me? um but yeah, like, but now don't just think I'm this evil mastermind that's always trying to get one over on people. It's not like that either. And to be honest, Machiavellianism in itself, it's considered part of the dark triad. Now the dark triad is three personality traits. It's like I said, Machiavellianism. There's the psychopathy, like we all know about psychopaths or sociopaths, and then there's narcissism. That's a big buzzword nowadays. We're always calling people narcissists, um, and all these traits tend to be like interrelated. Narcissists and psychopaths tend to be manipulative, lack empathy. Same thing with Machiavellians, and you know, yeah. Again, I used to question whether I was a sociopath. I don't listen. I don't. I could safely say I'm not out to hurt people, but I can employ manipulation and strategic maneuvers and kind of think long term and maneuver that way. Like that's how I interact with the world based on what the world has shown me. That's what makes sense to me. Um, and these are like I'm not proud of like any times I've been manipulated. I'm just saying this is who I am and what my experiences influenced me to be. You know, it can be lonely. It can be lonely feeling like you can't trust everybody or anybody. It can be lonely having that detachment from people and always having to observe people and feel like you have to be on guard and be vigilant and see how people are going to react and anticipate their reactions and think, okay, I'm gonna say this so that they do this. It's dehumanizing to others and it's dehumanizing to yourself. All right, so I want to reemphasize this isn't to glorify or glamorize anything. Um, Hannibal Lecter's not cool. The Joker, he's not cool. And the Joker's kind of cool. I can't even front, nigga, but um, the Joker's an interesting motherfucker, man. Um, I understand him. Don't want to be like that though. No one wants to be like that. That comes with pain. Um, this kind of worldview and way of interacting with the world is rooted in pain. At least for me. Some people are just naturally manipulative and strategic and cunning, and I don't know what to say about them. Like, I guess this is how they're wired. But for me, it's because of my trauma. It's because I've been fucked over. I've been abused. I've been bullied, mistreated. And this isn't a sob story. It's just my story. All right, so this shit, I'm almost at 18 minutes right now. But if you watch this whole thing, thank you. Yeah, like, comment, subscribe, fuck with all my videos. Fuck with me, I'm a real nigga, yurt. So, peace, love, have a good day. From your boy, yours. Peace.